Hey, have you met Mark? He's that junior guy that came to your firm at an entry level a couple of years ago, but somehow already carries himself with the confidence of a CEO. Who does he think he is? And he's the one that is already being considered for promotion, even though he literally just started, and he's probably going to be your boss in a couple of years. Well, I have met many Marks in my career, and you probably have as well. And I used to be so incredibly frustrated at their existence because I would always be the one doing all the work, doing all the things correctly and on time, within budget and deadlines, and ticking all the boxes. But I would never be the one to be considered leadership material, and then Mark was. Well, why the hell is that, you might be thinking? Let me tell you, after 4 years in a Big Four consulting firm where I work with senior leaders through my leadership development work and I help them progress in their careers at the top levels, and also having been through the corporate machine myself, where I was faced with all the uncomfortable truths, I think I may have figured it out. It's not that Mark is any better than you, it's just that he's already behaving as if he is at the next level. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right at work, ticking all the boxes, but still being overlooked for promotions and recognition, this might be why. Well, what to do, you might be wondering. And if you're introverted like I am, then you might also be thinking, well, I would never really want to be that guy. He doesn't sound like someone I would click with. He sounds a bit arrogant, a bit pretentious, and it's not in my nature to be the loudest in the room and to be telling people my CEO opinions left, right, and center. I got you. So in this video, let's talk about some introvert-friendly ways that will resonate with people like you and I, that will get you that authority gap bridge and get you to that next level without sacrificing who you are. And if we were in a coaching session, I would suggest that we dissected this into 3 buckets. Let's look at time, communication, and relationships. First of all, looking at time, the thing that I have realized when working with a lot of senior leaders through my Big Four consulting job was that people are often wanting a promotion or they want to be on that senior level, but they're spending their time in a way that someone on the level below would be doing. It's because a lot of people get trapped into this doer mentality where they're really used to paying attention to detail. They're used to being involved in all the work on the ground, knowing exactly who's doing what and when. And they're so good at that role as a manager, as a go-to person who does all the practical stuff, that actually they forget that the level up requires them to spend their time in a completely different way. And there are a few key shifts that happen from when you're that middle manager to someone who is quite senior. And that includes things like thinking about your network and developing it intentionally. It includes things like culture in your organization and how you can influence it, how you can steer it in the right direction. And very importantly, strategy and how you contribute to shaping it, not just executing it. So a very simple exercise that can get you started in reallocating your time is do an as-is analysis, where you're spending your time right now, and simply split it into 2 categories. One is the execution one, the doer, all the tasks, all the groundwork that gets things ticked off the to-do list, versus the senior leadership buckets that include those 3 things that we listed and more of the other stuff that you see senior leaders in your organization do, because it might vary slightly from company to company. And if you are being honest with yourself, what you might realize is that in that execution bucket, you're spending about 95 to 100% of your time right now. So what you need to do is think realistically. First of all, what can give? Because you cannot have more time in the day. That's just going to lead to burnout if you work more and more and you try and pile on all the strategy and networking work on top of your existing workload. But think about, how can I let something go, either delegate or just cross it off the to-do list if it doesn't need doing, if it's not urgent or important, and then reallocate that time to all the strategy, people, and networking that you need to do to behave like someone would at the next level up. And it's not enough to just do that and be like, okay, that's how I'm going to spend my time from now on. You, of course, need to communicate it with the people managing you and the people that you manage, because this might involve you delegating more work to the people that you manage. They need to know why, and sometimes, honestly, it helps to just be human with them and explain that you know what, I'm really trying to go to that senior level and be perceived as such. I would really appreciate your help, and it could also be a great opportunity for you to step up and actually aim to be someone that I am right now. Here's how I think we can rejig our priorities and our focus areas so that we both get that development and that step up opportunity. I'm phrasing this all in a very corporate way. You can just speak like a normal person, and I'm sure that most people will be very understanding and will support you in that ambition to get to that next level. Secondly, you need to communicate it to the people that are up from you. This has a double purpose. First of all, so that they know what you're doing and why you're no longer doing certain things that you had to let go. It might be the case that you need their approval to rejig your priorities and focus areas. And I'd always suggest that you over communicate if you're ever in doubt, because I'd rather people know what you're up to, what you're thinking, why certain things are no longer a priority on your list, than come to you in surprise, being like, what the hell have you done? And why is this thing still there without progress when I thought you were taking care of it? Always, always, always communicate with clarity and with confidence. Phrase it as a request. I really want to be performing at the next level up. Here's what I think that involves. Here's what I want to do with my time to allow me to develop in that way, and almost come to them with the proposal of how you need to shift your time. And the second purpose that it serves is incredibly important. It is positioning you for that promotion before you even go for it officially. I know how promotion decisions are made, and it's very rare that a person gets promoted who is not known or seen to want that promotion. You have to really make your case, especially in the current economy. Things are not doing well. So you have to really fight for it, and fight in a corporate way, in a work way, not actually. But it takes you repeating to people over and over that I want to perform at the next level up. Here is how I'm doing it. So when it comes to that decision point, they already know, because they've been told multiple times that you're already ticking all the boxes and you're doing all of that already. So it's a no-brainer to promote you. Next up, communication. And here we need your own insight into your organization. You need to start taking mental notes of what do people at those senior levels that you want to be at talk about. What concerns them? What are they discussing in the meetings that they're in? Hopefully, if you're one level below them, then you're in some rooms that involve that senior leadership. Start taking notes of what areas they are preoccupied with. And again, we need to think, well, what do you talk about? Do you always just give them updates about the day-to-day stuff and the to-do list and who's doing what and the actions? Or do you give them updates on the strategy, on the impact that your work is having, on potential new client relationships, or whatever else they're actually interested in? And most likely you will find that, of course, naturally, you're talking a lot more about that first bucket of things, because you're so used to being a good doer, a good right-hand person, the reliable one at work. And you need to consciously start shifting your thinking process to include all of those things in the second bucket. First of all, just mentally start taking note of the opinions that you have on that stuff. You can note it down, you can keep it somewhere, and then the work lies in you communicating that to people. It can be through speaking up in meetings, it can be through your one-on-one conversations with your manager, it can be just sharing opinions as part of your usual updates that you have in that first bucket. It doesn't have to just shift completely. If anything, that would probably be odd and raise some alarm bells that you're no longer doing the job of your grade, you're just doing that. So ease yourself in, make it a smooth transition. Just start sprinkling in some elements of those opinions that would actually be interesting to people higher up, because really they don't need to know what's happening on the ground. I mean, they do, but all they need to know is, are things on track? Are we making money? Are there any risks? If you can really shorten and condense those updates over there, and then start dedicating a bit more time in the way you communicate, in the things that you share, to that stuff, I promise you that you'll start being seen as someone who is ready to be more senior. Third thing is relationships and networking. The thing that I want you to consider is that the higher up you go in an organization, the more networking you need to do, because it's part of the job. It's who you know, who can support your organization, who can support you personally. That's how people usually get job opportunities, they get new clients for their firm, and lots of other stuff. So what I want you to start thinking about is, if I am at that senior level, who am I talking to? What am I talking to them about? How can I get to those people? And if you're only 1 or 2 levels below that senior leadership level, trust me that you're only one handshake away from the people that you need to network with. So I would start with a very simple exercise of just noting down, in an ideal world, who would I speak to? Who would I network with? Think senior, think people on that level, think people who are decision makers, who drive the direction in the organization. Note them down. I would say come up with 5. Then if you already know them, if you already have access to them, schedule a catch-up in, and we can talk separately about how to phrase this and how to frame it the correct way so it's not out of the blue for them. And then if you don't have direct access to them, think about who do you know already that does. Most likely that will give you a very easy to follow plan of how to actually network with those people who's in your priority list. We don't have time in this video to talk about exactly how to strategically pick who you go for first and who matters more in that stakeholder map. But for now, even if you get one networking call in or a coffee in, ideally in person, but online is also fine, you will already make so much progress in your career journey. And then it's just a matter of doing that consistently, once a month, once a quarter, whatever you can commit to. I would literally dedicate some time in your schedule for that. All of these things combined are aimed at you living as if you're already more senior than you actually are. And that not only convinces yourself that you're capable of it because you're already doing it, but it also convinces other people because they see you living that grade up already. And then when it comes to promotions, it literally just makes sense to get you there. If this resonates with you, if this hits a nerve, a pain point that you have, I've created a short 3-minute quiz that's aimed at telling you exactly where your positioning gap lies at work, why people are not perceiving you at that senior level, why you're not recognized or promoted, what might be holding you back. It's free and it will tell you exactly how to fix it. And if you already know that you're ready to step into that next level now, I work with people one-on-one to help them do exactly that. The link is also down below in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.